I wonder if Keith and Bird will do Palworld. Probably not. That game grosses us out.
Let's see here.
You don't want to do a you don't want to do Palworld? Why?
Because it seems really scummy and gross. The extent to which they just seem to have just like taken Pokemon 3D models and like been like, let me copy your homework. Okay, but change it so no one can tell. Like,
Yeah, it has you'll find that it has all of Nintendo's stuff crammed into it. Every time you go to an area, it plays the Breath of the Wild sound, where it's like dun dun dun.
Well, because their last game literally had Bokoblins and Moblins in them, but with different color.
Yeah.
And like
like the
and
game.
like I saw like 30 seconds of gameplay and immediately saw a Lycanroc in the game, and I'm like, that's just a Lycanroc, but with the markings moved. That's just a Lycanroc. And then like the next day I saw people comparing the 3D models of the Lycanroc versus that creature, and it was just like every limb and body part was just the same shape, but the hair tufts were moved basically, and it's like, and the tail like sticks up instead of down or something. I'm like, okay, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I like this developer. I don't think I'd feel good covering their game. It just seems extremely scummy, and it doesn't. I don't like it.
It's also just it's a survival game.
Yeah, so it's
the
about
goal is literally
just grinding. Yeah. You just grind gathering in order to craft meager stuff, and then you hit the end of the current content wall.
Yep, and because it's early access, so you'll eventually reach the highest level, and then have to come back in 6 months and play more.
I wouldn't want to play with just Bird anyway. I would want it to be like our overall big group thing with like 4 people in order to make it even kind of entertaining, because the game itself was going to just be really repetitive shit. That whole genre is. I also don't like Pokemon that much. Like my entire interest in Pokemon is just creature designs, and half of it's just furry bait.
Oh, then yeah, you definitely wouldn't like it. I was gonna say it doesn't have any of the Pokemon mechanics, but if you just only like the monster design, then like you're kind of out of luck.
No, I only like the monsters. Like my perfect success, my best case scenario was when Sword and Shield came out. I was just like, hey Stephanie, and then she just played the game for me, and I just watched and was like, well, that's a cool dog. We met Obstagoon and Boltund and whatever they called the dog that has a sword in his mouth, like Zangetsu or some shit. Everyone else hated Sword and Shield, but I didn't have to play it. I just watched it. I'm like, this is neat. But I'm only into Pokemon for the designs, because the actual Pokemon gameplay is really boring. Everyone has 4 moves total, and half the fights end in 1 hit. Cool, fun game. You know a series is really fun and cool mechanically when the best way to make it any interesting at all is to impose a challenge run full of rules you made up on the internet.
Yeah, there definitely becomes a point where once you play enough Pokemon, your kind of branch becomes either I'm going to like make it hard for myself, or I'm going to become a multiplayer monster. As
somebody who is a professional YouTuber, it is like fiscally responsible for me to cover Palworld because it's like the biggest Steam game ever or some bullshit like that.
It's closed,
but it makes me feel gross. Also, when people are like, yeah, but Pokemon's bad, so it's good that Palworld's making a splash by taking, like, getting the Pokemon audience but doing something different. I'm like, you can do it without being a scummy weirdo.
Works. Yeah,
you don't have to be a scummy weirdo. Like, from what I can remember, that Pokemon game we played, Temtem, didn't have any like stolen from Pokemon monsters.
No,
it just had a bunch of new guys. I had like a crystal man. It's like a weasel man that was covered in crystals or something. Like, they were all new guys. You could just make new guys. Jackass. Just make up some monsters. The furries have been doing it for 30 years.